So, how's everybody doing? I hope you all had a blessed day today. I'm up really, really late, burning the midnight oil as they call it, but I've been on the computer just kind of looking at some news, and it's a lot of crazy things are going on today where the news is reporting now that they are burning ballot boxes. It says in two states, in Washington, in Vancouver, Washington, and Portland, Oregon, they are burning the ballot boxes, burning them up to destroy the votes. And this does not come as a surprise to me because I knew that they were going to pull something. And this is not even the worst of it because either way whatever way this election goes, if it goes either way, I believe that there's going to be violence. They said that the federal government is preparing for violence. They expect violence pretty much. So they've been doing like drills and trainings up in D.C. with the military and the Air Force and probably the National Guard, because they do expect violence either way this election goes. I think the burning of the ballot boxes, they're saying that it's Antifa. I believe it's Trump's people or Trump supporters, people who support Trump because they're so afraid of him losing, and the possibility or the reality they have this fear of reality that Kamala Harris is going to be in that White House come next week, or she's going to get elected come next week, and she'll actually physically go to the White House in January if she wins next week. But that fear and that possibility is just overwhelming for a lot of them, and so they're flat out burning the ballot boxes. They're trying to destroy the votes now at this point because they do not want her in there. They do not want this woman to win. I explained before, this is a do or die election for Donald Trump. He has to win this election because his finances and his freedom are at stake if he doesn't win. And also, like I reported yesterday or the day before yesterday, that his son-in-law might go to jail. Jared Kushner might go to jail for being an unregistered foreign agent if Kamala wins and the Democrats open up that if the Democrats assign a special counsel to his case that they've been investigating since I think 2018 about that 666 building that his family owned. They bought it and then they sold it because they couldn't get money out of it, because they were losing money on it because they couldn't get it leased because nobody wanted to live or work in that building with that address. So he sold it, and they're saying that the Saudis bailed him out, and he went he influenced U.S. policy for those Saudis because of that. And so they've been looking into that, and now they want to assign a special counsel. So if Trump wins, then that case goes away because he'll be his partner if he get caught up in anything or if they find anything. And then Trump's own freedom, because he's got 4 criminal cases and all these cases running wild. He's still got, he's going to be sentenced for the Stormy Daniels case a week after the election. Then he still got that Georgia election interference case that he has to deal with. Then he has the documents case up in D.C. with Jack Smith. And he also has the insurrection case. So he's still got cases running wild, criminal cases running wild. And then he's got the civil suit in New York, where he's got to pay. He's on the hook for $456 million, and they keep claiming he doesn't have it, that he has to pay to the state of New York with Tish James and that civil suit. He can't do business in the state of New York. However, he can do business in other states and all over the world. So this man supposedly is worth billions of dollars, so he can pay that judgment. So unless he's lying about his net worth, $456 million. $456 million. And then they're saying he doesn't even have the appeal bond for $170 million. So I don't believe, I think that's capped, because if you got a friend like Elon Musk, who's the richest man in the world, and you claim to be worth what? Oh, my light went out. Let me turn the light out. Hold on, let me get this light. Hold on, y'all. Dang it. 1 second. Okay, there we go. And you claim to be worth $6 million, $6 billion, then money shouldn't be an issue, and you just pay that bond, that $170 million bond while your case is being appealed. And if you lose that appeal, that $456 million, that shouldn't hurt you too bad. But it's all smoke and mirrors with these politicians. So, yeah. But anyway, he needs to win this election bad, and they're willing to do whatever it takes. If they have to burn down the White House itself, if they have to do that, I believe they're not above doing something like that. But it will be. I believe it will be violence in this country. If Kamala wins or if Trump wins, it's going to be some type of violence. So brace yourselves for that. Get ready for it. Prepare for the worst. So they had their respective rallies. Sunday, was it Sunday? Kamala had her rally. And they said the keynote speaker, the one who gave the most effective speech at that rally was Michelle Obama. They said she really ripped into Trump about the whole abortion issue. But then this one rally that Trump held at Madison Square Gardens, everybody's comparing this to the 1939 rally that Adolf Hitler held at the Madison Square Gardens. And if you pay attention, the whole thing with Hitler in 1939 was, they was all doing this, Heil Hitler, whatever. And now with Trump, it's fight, fight, fight. And he had this most racist comedian, so-called comedian, named Tony Hinchcliffe. Kill Tony is what his podcast is called. That's the name of his podcast. And he said the most racist stuff against not just blacks, but Puerto Ricans. And he really pissed off a lot of Latinos, and he may have cost Trump the Latino vote with that little joke that he told. But like I told y'all, just because they're gay don't mean they can't be racist. There are a lot of gay racists out here. There are a lot of gay Republicans out here. Look at Lindsey Graham. He's gay. He's just in the closet, but he's gay and he's a Republican. So just because they're gay don't mean they're not racist and they're not white supremacists. And this Tony Hinchcliffe person proved it, because he's obviously very gay. That dude is flaming gay. So, that was the that rally that Trump held resembles that Hitler rally in so many ways, and a lot of people caught on to it. So you elect Trump, you vote for Trump, y'all vote for Trump, y'all gonna be getting Adolf Hitler, a modern day Adolf Hitler, a wannabe dictator, and you're gonna just you will suffer for your decision if you choose to elect Donald Trump as your next president. There's nothing else to say about that. So, and a lot of them, they know Trump is Hitler, but they would rather burn this country. They would rather see this country go to pot, just go to hell, before they elect Kamala in there. That's so unfortunate. They will vote against their own interest and vote in a dictator, a Hitler reincarnate, because their hearts are so full of hatred and racism. What else? The Department of Justice is they are putting Elon Musk on notice that his little sweepstakes that he's holding, that where he said he'd give a Trump rally attendee $1 million to sign some petition supporting the First and Second Amendment. Um, Everybody just kind of, it gave everybody pause when he did that, because it does seem unethical and illegal to do such a thing, because now it seems like he's using his money to buy the election for Trump. And so a lot of people probably complained and raised all kind of what. And the DOJ has said that they've released a statement that they are formally looking into him doing that if it's breaking any campaign finance laws. Because if that's the case, any rich person with billions of dollars can just bribe people and hold sweepstakes and lotteries and things like that in order to buy the election for their preferred candidate. So they're looking into that, and this man thinks because he's rich that he can do anything, that he's above the law, but he's going to keep pushing the envelope. He made that statement about Trump and Biden, about what happened with Trump. He made those statements about them, and I'm surprised he wasn't on the Secret Service radar then. But now he's doing this campaign lottery or something, these Trump rally lotteries, and he's treading close to getting himself an indictment, because it seems like he's trying to buy this election for Trump, and he's doing it for his own reasons. He's got his own agenda, because this man thinks because he's the richest man in the world, he wants to control the government. He wants to control the world, and even Mars. He wants to even control another planet. He's wanting to go and colonize Mars and control what's going on down here. That's why he's interjecting himself into the war, talking about drafting up some type of peace treaty or whatever with Ukraine and Russia. He's doing a lot of things because he's trying to further his own agenda with his companies and his SpaceX Mars ambitions, because he's just a big overgrown man-child playing with rockets. And his money, he won't spend his money, but he wants to spend taxpayers' dollars and government money to mess around up there in Mars and build all these faulty spacecrafts that he's been building. So we'll see where that goes, because it just seems like to me he's trying to buy this election because he wants government contracts and he wants a high-ranking government post since he can't be president. And he might even try to finagle his way and get Congress and Trump. He can use his money to even try to convince them to change the Constitution to where he can. Because as of now, he can't ever be president because he wasn't born in this country. He's not a natural-born American citizen. So he's trying to do everything else and to get into the highest position of power that he can in order to control this country. So, what else? As far as with the war over the Middle East, Israel has said that they're not done striking Iran. They've pretty much ran all of the Hamas soldiers, the Hamas terrorists, out of Gaza. They got them surrounded at the present time in Jambalaya. Am I pronouncing that name right? But they got them pretty much surrounded. They said like 600 Hamas terrorists have surrendered to the IDF, and they've got the rest of them surrounded. So they've pretty much eliminated Hamas and got them out of Gaza, because they said 50,000 residents have fled Gaza. So it's nothing but the military there. And in that town, in that city, they've got the Hamas terrorists surrounded. So Hezbollah has named Naim Qassem as their next leader. So now that they've identified him, he's on borrowed time. Expect him to be eliminated anytime soon. They also said that the Ayatollah Khomeini, they said that this he has a terminal illness. This is what the reports are saying, that he has a terminal illness and that his son is going to be taken over his position. His son is his successor. And so that I think what it is that since they tried and failed to eliminate Netanyahu, I think he's afraid. He's scared for his life even more so now. And he's trying to say that he's old and he's feeble and he's on his deathbed. He has a terminal illness, thinking that that may make or compel Israel to spare his life. But I don't know if Israel's going to fall for that. This man is still he's still on borrowed time, and he's also said that he's also approved for the Iranian Revolutionary Guard to strike Israel in any way that they see fit. So at this point, it seems like this old man is giving up. The Ayatollah is giving up, and he's giving up power. He claims he's dying, but I think he's more scared than anything now, because he sees now that his mortality is he's realizing his mortality, and he sees that all of his fellow comrades have been taken out by Israel, and he knows that it's only a matter of time before they take him out too. So I think he's more scared than anything. But yeah, his son is on borrowed time now, because they said that his son is his successor. So Israel will probably get him and his son because of that failed bombing of Netanyahu's private residence. Also, there is this really two disturbing clips that I'm going to show of these people in France, and I forgot where the other city is. But the first clip, or one of the clips, is of the French in a town called Toulouse, France, and they are having a parade with this big old giant satanic looking float riding through the streets, blowing smoke out of his nose and its mouth. And these people, it's just like a public satanic ritual that these people are holding. And it's just really, it's really creepy. But France is just a wicked country, because, we remember they did the whole Olympic opening ceremony where they mocked the Last Supper and had these gay people, these lesbians and gays and drag queens, mimicking the Last Supper. So this is not the first time for France, and they wonder why God is drenching that place with catastrophic flooding back to back. I mean, they've been getting catastrophic flooding now since the summer, since the Olympics, and it's just, he's destroying that place by water. Also, speaking of flooding, the Sahara Desert has flooded again. This is the second time. This is the second time the Sahara Desert has flooded yet again. But also, there's another clip I was telling you about with the mocking of God and the disrespect of Jesus Christ. There's these two men, gay men, that are doing this seductive dance on the cross, on this makeshift cross on stage, and they're dressed like Jesus and I guess the thief on the cross, and they're doing this gay ballet type striptease. It's some weird dance that they were doing, so very blasphemous, and I don't know which town that was, but it's very disturbing. It's very evil, very blasphemous. And these people wonder why God is sending all these earthquakes and these floods and these hurricanes and these typhoons and these tsunamis. That's why. It's the wickedness. That type of wickedness is the reason why. So yeah, I say this, and like I said, with this flooding, it's because the Bible did say that God was not going to destroy the earth, the entire earth, with water, but it said that we will be living in this end time as in the days of Noah, where people were engaging in all kind of wickedness and doing what they're doing like they're doing now, as in the days of Noah. And this flooding represents Bible prophecy being filled as in the days of Noah. Massive flooding, catastrophic flooding all over the world. Philippines, Europe, Africa. Every continent is experiencing catastrophic flooding all over the world. But God said he's going to keep his covenant rainbow promise, that he's not going to destroy the earth with water this time. He's going to destroy it with fire. So we're still living as in the days of Noah. Now with the volcano eruptions and the earthquakes, those are the labor pains. Those are the labor pains that we are experiencing in the earth realm because the second coming of Jesus Christ is imminent. They're getting more intense. They're getting more frequent because it's like the birth pains, the labor pains, and it's only a matter of time before delivery that the rebirth, the delivery, the second delivery of the only begotten Son is about to happen. But this time he's not going to be born in a manger, a lamb of peace. He's going to come back, the Son of God, a king, a lion, and he's going to come back for war. So, like I said, it's up to you whether you want to be saved, repent of your sins and be baptized in order to be saved. That's up to you if you want to do so, or if you want to be left out here and get tossed into hell with the rest of these demon people, these demonic people out here blaspheming God and disrespecting Jesus, and these world leaders, these corrupt politicians, and these wicked celebrities. And if y'all want to join them, then that's fine. Just don't. Just continue doing what you're doing. But if you really do want to get saved and have eternal life in Jesus Christ once this world is over, then I just suggest, or I strongly encourage, that you get saved as soon as possible while there's still time. So, I think that's about it. But expect in the next upcoming week or two, expect more violence here in the United States as a result of this election. I say expect the worst, and expect there will be violence. Either way it goes. Whether Kamala wins or Trump wins, there will be violence. They're going to try to mess with votes. Yes, absolutely, because this is a do or die election. Really, this is the most serious election in American history. Also, with the war, Iran is definitely going to retaliate against Israel. But Israel's not done with their attacks, their retaliatory attack. They're not done. See, we all thought that was over, that Israel just destroyed Iran's air defense and military targets. And Israel said, oh, we're not done. We still haven't got them for trying to kill Prime Minister Netanyahu. They still haven't struck them back for that. And so I think what it is that's why that Ayatollah Khomeini is trying to say he's terminally ill and acting like he's dying, because they know Israel is going to retaliate for that strike that tried to take out Netanyahu. So expect that too. But so neither side is backing down. Iran or Israel, neither side is backing down. So this war is going to escalate. There has been a new commander-in-chief announced with Hezbollah, and expect him to be eliminated. But yeah, it's about to go down. Over here in the States, it's about to go down. Possibly a civil war. I don't know. But there will be violence regardless of what the outcome of this election is. So be prepared. And until then, I just pray that God blesses you and your family. And I pray, that you guys are safe and that you're well, and that if you're not saved, that you do get saved as soon as you can. And if, you have family members that are not saved, pray and ask the Lord to, enter into their hearts so that they can be saved as well, because we don't have much time. And I know y'all say, people keep saying that, and these Jesus freaks and these Bible thumpers keep saying that, but we just don't want you to be left behind here, because ain't no coming back from that. Once it's done, it's done. There's no coming back from that for eternity. And I don't care how you cry, you beg, you plead the Lord, you plead Jesus Christ. It's not going to matter, because you've had time. You have time now to repent and be baptized in the name of Jesus Christ. Get blood washed, born again, and baptized while there is time. That's the only thing we can keep telling you. We can keep asking, but okay. I will talk to you guys tomorrow or later on today because it's kind of late. Lord willing, I will talk to you later on today, and I pray that you all be blessed. Peace.
And an investigation is underway following the discovery of an incendiary device inside a ballot box in Portland. Meanwhile, in Vancouver, Washington, ABC affiliate KATU captured the moment heavy smoke was seen coming from inside a drop-off ballot box. ABC's Alex Stone is tracking that for us from the LA Bureau. Alex, what's the latest on these incidents?
Well, we're just getting details on them right now, Diane. Two different incidents, the one at 3:30 in the morning in the Vancouver or in Portland, and then 6:30 in the morning in the Vancouver area. Those two only about a 15, 20-minute drive apart from one another. And police in both of them, we know the FBI is now looking into them. Police say they don't know who did this. You can see in this video right here the smoke coming out in the Vancouver incident. They know that there were hundreds of ballots that were in that drop box and that it involved ballots that were dropped off from 8 a.m. yesterday morning. The last pickup in the box was at 8 o'clock yesterday morning. And right now the FBI is responding. Police don't know, was this vandalism? Was it something more organized? They are investigating it, but just in the last couple of hours, the fire's breaking out.
So what are election officials saying to anyone who thinks their ballot may have been in one of those boxes?
Yeah, they're saying if you dropped off your box or your ballot in either of these boxes after 8 a.m. yesterday morning when they did their last pickup, that you need to contact the election auditor's office and let them know. And they will know and try to track where your ballot is and if they can get to that ballot and if the ballot burned in that box. But there were, at least in the one in Vancouver, hundreds of ballots in the box that did burn. But they say that they will be able to track that down. All of this a concern. The ballot boxes are a target for somebody who may want to make a point. We know in the Vancouver area there is a tight congressional race going on. They don't know if that is involved in this. The FBI is responding. Police have now put out the fires, and firefighters have put them out. Arson investigators are looking into it, but they are beginning their investigation. And was this something to try to impact the vote, to destroy those ballots? Was it somebody just doing something, putting something in there to try to create a scene or to get a reaction? They don't know as of right now.
These satellite images give us a new insight into damage caused by Israel's airstrikes on Iran Saturday. A former United Nations weapons inspector says Israel hit a building that was once part of Iran's now defunct nuclear weapons program. Israel says its strikes damaged Iran's ability to mass-produce missiles. Any Iranian response in this tit-for-tat exchange will likely need sign-off from Ayatollah Khamenei. Although Iran's supreme leader said Sunday that other officials would make that call. Khamenei said Israel's strikes were a mistake, adding that they should neither be downplayed nor exaggerated. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the operation achieved all of its objectives, even if he believes Israel's multi-front war has not. At a memorial for the victims of the Hamas October 7th attacks, family members heckled him. Other relatives then confronted the hecklers, a sign of Israeli divisions even among those sharing the same pain. Any nervousness in Israel about what comes next in the conflict only increased after this truck rammed into a group of people, killing one and injuring dozens. Police are investigating it as terrorism. They say the driver, an Israeli citizen, was shot dead by a civilian. In northern Israel, at least 5 people were hurt by the latest Hezbollah rockets launched from Lebanon. The destruction from Israel's attacks on Lebanon remain far greater. Several people killed Sunday after strikes on the coastal city of Sidon. Any prospect of a wider de-escalation still hinges on what happens in Gaza. On Sunday, peace talks resumed in Qatar, and Egypt's President El-Sisi has proposed an initial 2-day Gaza ceasefire, including a limited hostage prisoner exchange, the eventual aim being a permanent truce.
It's certainly possible that this upcoming presidential election will get resolved in the courts. As we previewed earlier, the election-related challenges are piling up, especially in key swing states. And on this new issue, the election cycle, this go-around, what happens when a billionaire offers unregistered voters the chance to win $1 million if they register to vote? Some believe it could run afoul of federal laws prohibiting paying someone to vote, but it skirts the line. Let's bring in a friend of the show and former D.C. federal prosecutor David Katz. David, thank you for joining us. What is your take on Elon Musk's plan here and the DOJ letter saying this may be an issue with federal election law? Do you think he's in trouble?
I think Musk is on thin ice. I think he's going to retreat from this position and desist. I know that this morning it's been reported that he gave out another $1 million to 2 people, but he got a letter from the career prosecutors at the Department of Justice saying that this is unacceptable. And they've issued this kind of admonition years ago. And the other person that they issued it to said it was unconstitutional and complained, but ended up desisting. Because, Musk has enough problems in life. He doesn't need the specter of criminal prosecution. And this is clearly a criminal, in my opinion, because he's trying to do something indirectly that he knows he can't do directly. As you said, you can't pay people to register. And by having a competition that's only open to registered voters and only in the 7 swing states, number one, he's made his knowledge clear and he's made his intent clear. I think he'll desist from doing this in the next day or 2.
Given the Supreme Court's recent rulings and our general understanding now of campaign finance laws, there just seems to be a little bit more of an open door here for direct money to certain things involved in a campaign. So why would it be important to kind of block this kind of behavior, given the general understanding that billionaires also contribute greatly throughout the campaign infrastructure?
Well, you can't buy elections and you can't buy votes. And we have people who, of course, try to influence elections and they put a lot of money into it. We've had the issue of dark money, too, undisclosed contributions after Citizens United. But still, there are these rules. And I think for someone like Musk, his lawyers are telling him, you got to obey the rules. You don't need to take the risk of being prosecuted. It just doesn't make any sense.
What is your sense of these challenges that we're seeing pop up, particularly Republican-led challenges? We just talked about the ones going after overseas voters who have never lived in the swing states, but they are, for example, children of military members who once resided in the states. The Republicans were trying to block them from voting. That didn't work. We're seeing challenges like that in swing states, in Pennsylvania and in Michigan. And we're going to continue to see more in the run-up to November. Do you think that this election
is ultimately going to get decided in the courts?
I don't think this is going to be another Bush v. Gore. I don't think this is one where all we're going to remember is that the election was won 5-4 in the Supreme Court. I really don't think that's going to happen. I think most of these challenges are going to be rapidly denied. You remember that in 2020, with all the challenges, 60 out of 60 were turned down, including by Trump-appointed judges. And since then, they've done a lot of things to make the elections even clearer, the rules even more well-developed. The computers are working very well. You know, people are talking about hand counts. Hand counts not only introduce delay, but they introduce a lot of error. The computers are working very well. All those canards about how the computers didn't work in 2020 were also disproven. They were sued over. And now I've listened to people like the Secretary of State, Raffensperger, down there in Georgia. And he says that they're not going to have those long lines that we saw where, especially in minority neighborhoods, people were waiting around for hours and hours. And of course, the voting by mail now has been much more accepted and much more well organized. One last point on this. A couple of states in the swing states don't allow the count and the opening of the ballots by mail to start until Election Day. And that's what delays the results. That's why we don't know the night of the election who won. And I don't know at this time.
David, I want to ask you quickly at the end here. We just have a few seconds, but you've been in the Department of Justice, and no matter who's in power, they send attorneys to prepare for Election Day. There are people on the ground from the Department of Justice in key areas across the country. What's the department doing right now? And it matters not which party is in power, but to prepare for Election Day and get ready for these challenges.
Well, you know, Adam Schiff and I were in the Reagan administration, which just shows you that people are trying to do their duty in there. Despite their personal politics, they're trying to do an impartial, fair job that will give honor to patriotism, to what we believe our country should be about, the rule of law and fairness. And I think that that's what they're doing right now. And that's why I think that most of these matters are going to work out. But, you know, there is a Supreme Court precedent that says that you're not supposed to make changes to election laws within 4 months of the election. So a lot of these challenges are going to be thrown out because they've been filed too late. They're untimely, whether they're right or wrong on the merits. And as all the supposed illegals who are voting, the numbers don't back it up. They don't back it up now, and they didn't back it up in 2020 that illegals are voting in federal elections. It's just not happening.
We've talked a lot about on this show that those cases didn't have standing. Our audience knows exactly what standing is. David Katz, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And from the U.S. southward to Mexico, where violence has hit alarming new heights. The North American nation suffered 3 violent attacks carried out by cartels just yesterday. 2 car bombs detonated targeting police stations in central Mexico, and in the south, local police were killed after getting caught in the crossfire of 2 rival gangs. President Claudia Sheinbaum remains committed to a non-confrontational stance, but with cartels increasingly targeting police and civilians, the security crisis seems poised to escalate. Here's more about the onslaught.
It was a night of violence in Mexico. In a brutal reminder of Mexico's ongoing cartel war, car bombs exploded outside 2 police stations in the Guanajuato. The first explosion tore through Acámbaro, injuring 3 police officers. A woman and her daughter who were waiting at a bus stop were also injured. Just 30 kilometers away, in Jerecuaro, a second blast targeted a police patrol, blew off a building's roof, and set fire to a police patrol vehicle, injuring at least 2 policemen, according to local media.
Early in the morning, at 6:15 a.m., there was a very loud bang, very loud. We thought that a tree from across the street had fallen towards the house. We heard it, we got up, and went out to see what happened, and the only thing we could see were flames and smoke outside the police station.
Guanajuato, the state that leads Mexico in homicides, has become a bloody battleground between the Santa Rosa de Lima and Jalisco cartels, both fighting ruthlessly for control. But this is not all that happened yesterday. A third incident in Guerrero state added to the deadly pattern. A violent shootout between suspected cartel members and police left at least 2 officers dead and 4 wounded. Though the Mexican army retaliated, killing 14 cartel members, the message from organized crime is clear. The cartels are not backing down. This eruption of violence comes as newly inaugurated President Claudia Sheinbaum doubles down on her predecessor's hugs not bullets approach to cartel relations. Despite the relentless violence, Sheinbaum has instructed the army to avoid confrontations with cartels, a policy some say lacks teeth in the face of increasingly bold and coordinated cartel strikes.
The instruction we have given, and this is the policy, the strategy of the Security Cabinet, is that there are to be no confrontations. We are not going to return to a war against the narcos. It isn't to get there outside the framework of human rights, and instead within the framework of the law.
Now, the violence has also spilled over into the United States political arena, with both presidential candidates calling for an American intervention against cartels. Donald Trump's campaign says they will go to war with the cartels.
You know what Donald Trump and I want to do? We want to go to war with the Mexican drug cartels. We want to close down the American southern border. We want to reinstitute deportations, and we want to stop the insanity at the southern border.
I will ensure that we target the entire global fentanyl supply chain because we must materially and sustainably disrupt the flow of illicit fentanyl coming into our country. My approach takes into account also that the precursor chemicals used to make fentanyl are by and large made in China and then shipped to Mexican cartels and trafficked right here into the United States.
While it takes two to tango, Sheinbaum's administration already appears to be engaged in a warlike situation with the cartels controlling many regions across Mexico's states. But with determination to stick to her course, she continues to resist calls to remilitarize the fight against Mexico's most dangerous criminals. With these latest blasts and violent clashes, the cartels appear to be sending a message of defiance directly to Mexico's new president. The battle for power will not stop.
First Post decodes the U.S. election, explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained, every Monday and Thursday only on First Post.
I understand from listening to people across the Commonwealth how the most painful aspects of our past continue to resonate.
My focus is on the forward look, not the sort of backward look.
Now let's turn our attention to Samoa. It's an island nation in the Pacific Ocean, so of course it was once subjugated by a European power. In this case, the colonizer was the UK. That is why today, Samoa is a member of the Commonwealth of Nations. It's actually the host country for this year's Commonwealth Summit, the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. The meeting is being presided over by Britain's King Charles III. Charles was having a great time over the last few days, drinking a potent Samoan brew, a drink called kava. Charles was even declared a High Chief of the Samoan archipelago. Yes, he did seem to enjoy all the empire nostalgia, but he came crashing back down to earth earlier today.
Our cohesion requires that we acknowledge where we have come from. I understand from listening to people across the Commonwealth how the most painful aspects of our past continue to resonate. It is vital, therefore, that we understand our history to guide us to make the right choices in the future.
Charles seemed to have sobered up this morning. He needed his wits about him so he could deflect from a contentious issue at this Commonwealth Summit, the issue of reparations. As you know, Britain was a pioneer back in the day, a real trailblazer when it came to slavery. Slavery had always existed in human history, but Britain, and the British monarchy in particular, transformed it into a truly global business. The UK set up a slave code for its Caribbean colonies. They enslaved people in Africa, forced them into ships, and took them to plantations in the Caribbean. Millions perished during the brutal journey. And those who survived were worked to death on the plantations. The British royal family was heavily involved in slavery. They granted monopolies to slavers, provided ships. The previous Charles, Charles II, even founded the Royal African Company, Britain's biggest slave trading institution. Now, obviously, the British royal family was not doing any of it for free. They took a hefty cut of the profits. How hefty? We can't be sure of that. They've never been forthcoming with their finances. But considering the timeline, it is entirely possible that the Buckingham Palace itself was built using slavery profits. So the current Charles may literally be living in a house of blood. Today, Charles said that we should understand history. Well, this is the history. The British royal family continues to live in luxury thanks to the millions it made in the slave trade centuries ago. That is a fact. But here's Charles trying to sidestep the issue.
None of us can change the past, but we can commit with all our hearts to learning its lessons and to finding creative ways to right inequalities that endure.
Creative ways? Are you joking? How about going the simple way instead? Just pay reparations, sell all your fancy cars, cloaks and tiaras, and right the past wrongs. The British royal family will never agree to this, but sadly, neither will the British government.
I think we should be clear from the outset that the slave trade, slave practice was abhorrent. And it's very important that we start from that place. And of course, that matters hugely to many of the countries that are represented here. The question then is, where do we go from there? Now, my posture, if you like, is that we should be forward-looking. That's my posture, if you like, my focus is on the forward look, not the sort of backward look.
That was the UK's Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. He just flatly refused to pay reparations. Everyone in his cabinet is of the same view. They may offer some token, non-cash forms of justice, but no reparations, not even a formal apology. That is the British government's official stance. But there is still some hope. The Commonwealth is choosing its new Secretary General at the summit, and all the candidates have vowed to pursue reparations. Despite Britain's objections, slavery reparations will probably get mentioned in the summit's final communique. And next year, Commonwealth members from the Caribbean plan to send a delegation to the UK with an updated list of demands. There's no guarantee that any of this will change the UK's position, but it is a step in the right direction.
First Post decodes the U.S. election, explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained. Every Monday and Thursday only on First Post.
Palm trees and sand dunes were flooded across the Sahara Desert on Thursday after rare rainfall hit the region. Drone footage shot in southeastern Morocco captured the extent of the flooding triggered by the downpours. Morocco's General Directorate of Meteorology said the country experienced a particularly unstable and humid September, which was marked by intense downpour. Some regions experienced heavy rains exceeding 200 millimeters in 48 hours, resulting in flash floods.
Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, 85, is reportedly facing a severe health crisis, raising concerns about who will succeed him, a New York Times report has revealed. The news intensified speculation about Khamenei's successor, with discussions centered around his second son, Mojtaba Khamenei, 55, as the most likely candidate. The succession issue has reportedly ignited a quiet struggle within Iran's political elite, a dynamic fueled by the absence of former President Ebrahim Raisi, who died in a helicopter crash last May. Raisi had been viewed by some as a potential successor, but his death has left a vacuum that some suggest could be filled by Khamenei's son, Mojtaba. Concerns have risen within Iran over the perceived concentration of power within the Khamenei family. Khamenei, who became supreme leader in 1989 following the death of the republic's founder, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, has wielded substantial influence in Iranian politics and the region. The supreme leader holds ultimate control over Iran's policies and military, and the lack of clear guidelines for succession has led to anxiety among Iran's clerical and political establishment. The report surfaced shortly after a new escalation in regional hostilities, with Israel launching multiple airstrikes on Iranian targets in response to Tehran's recent ballistic missile attack. These attacks, conducted in 3 waves, reportedly struck missile production facilities and other strategic sites near Tehran and western Iran, resulting in the death of 2 Iranian soldiers. While Iranian officials condemned Israel's actions, they signaled that Tehran is not seeking further escalation, underscoring Iran's commitment to regional stability, even as tensions run high. However, reports indicated that Israel's strikes extended beyond Iran, targeting sites in neighboring Iraq and Syria. The recent military exchanges between Iran and Israel have heightened fears of a broader conflict, with both sides asserting a need for self-defense. Observers noted that the timing of Khamenei's health concerns, coupled with his succession uncertainty, could further destabilize an already tense region.